Hello students, welcome to class. So today we are going to start with another poem, that is poem number 2.5, Father Returning Home, written by Dilip Chitre. So let's start with the introduction of the poem. Father Returning Home by Dilip Chitre is probably the most famous poem by this Indian poet. It is an autobiographical poem where the poet shows the loneliness and world weariness of an old man in the modern society by depicting a picture of his own father returning home from work. The poem is a true account of the poet's father Purushottam Chitre's life in 1957 when they moved from Baroda to Mumbai. The poem is expressive of the poet's feeling for his father at a later stage. He realized how neglected and uncared for his father was even after being the lone bread earner for the family. But the poem Father Returning Home has gone beyond its autobiographical significance. It is now an account of any old man who does the hard work for his family but leads a monotonous life where no one is there to take care of him, to converse with him, or to understand his feelings. The poem consists of two stanzas of 12 lines each. It is written in free verse with no particular meter or rhyme scheme followed. And the lack of rhythm is symbolic of the poet's father's uncared for life. The language is easy and simple but full of symbolic expressions and poetic devices like simile. It is in first person narrative where the poet speaker narrates how his father returns home and what he does thereafter. Father Returning Home, this poem is taken from Travelling in a Cage. It draws a portrait of a suburban commuter. Poet here depicts his father's dull, monotonous, exhausting, and equally pitiable daily routine. It describes a forced alienation at home. His children refuse to share their joys and sorrows with the hard-working father who, as a result, is forced to live into solitude. This very painful loneliness is a symbol of man's isolation from the materialistic, man-made world. So, moving on towards the introduction of the poet. The poem is written by Dilip Chitre. Dilip Purushottam Chitre was one of the foremost Indian poets and critics to emerge in the post-independence of India. Apart from being a very important bilingual writer, that is, writing in Marathi and English, he was also a teacher, a painter, a filmmaker, and a magazine columnist. He received the prestigious Sahitya Academy Award both for his poetry as well as for his well-known translation work. He has started translation of literary work of saints in Marathi at the age of 16. Exile, alienation, self-disintegration, and death are observed to be the major themes of his work. So, Dilip Purushottam Chitre was a notable Indian poet, critic, painter, and filmmaker of the modern era. He was one of the most important figures behind the Little Magazine movement of the 60s in Marathi. So, let's start with the poem. Poem number 2.5, Father Returning Home. My father travels on the late evening train, standing among silent commuters in the yellow light. Suburbs slide past his unseeing eyes. His shirt and pants are soggy, and his black raincoat stained with mud, and his bag stuffed with books is falling apart. His eyes, dimmed by age, fade homeward through the humid monsoon night. Now I can see him getting off the train like a word dropped from a long sentence. He hurries across the length of the grey platform, crosses the railway line, enters the lane. His chappals are sticky with mud, but he hurries onward. So now we'll have an explanation of the poem. My father travels on the late evening train. So the poem begins with the speaker's description of his father's traveling home. The father is traveling in a late evening train after finishing his work for the day. So, late evening train may indicate how long the father works so that it regularly gets that late for him to return home. The next line is standing among silent commuters in the yellow light. So, the father is standing among the silent passengers in the yellow light inside the train compartment. This line is indicative of his sufferings during the journey. After working so hard, he is returning home standing on the footboard as he doesn't get a seat there to relax. The silent commuters are not friendly enough to converse with him or among themselves. The yellow light is not the best thing either to promote any cheerfulness. All these things further intensify his agony and make the journey monotonous. Suburbs slide past his unseeing eyes. So, the suburbs means the outskirts. So, the suburbs are sliding past the moving train. But the poet's father has no intention to look at those. He is unmoved by these scenes, for he has seen those many a times and finds nothing new or interesting in it. So, the sliding landscapes also add to the sense of monotony. The next lines are his shirt and pants are soggy, and his black raincoat stained with mud, and his bag stuffed with books is falling apart. Now the poet makes us know that it was a rainy day. His father's dresses are all wet with the rain water, and the black raincoat is damaged with mud. The bag he was carrying was stuffed with books, and he was struggling to handle it. These lines are again indicative of the difficulties poet's father has to face during the journey. It gets even worse in the rainy season. The black raincoat might indicate the lack of color in his dull life. Again, his bag full of books hints that he was an educated and scholarly man, not that unimportant that one would think from his ordinary routine journey. So, his eyes, dimmed by age, fade homeward through the humid monsoon night. Now, the poet gives us an impression of his father's age. His eyesight is dimmed by his old age. The father looks homeward with his low vision through the humid monsoon night. The gloomy atmosphere also adds to the dullness of his life. Now, I can see him getting off the train like a word dropped from a long sentence. So here the poet's father gets down from the train. Here, Dilip Chitre has used a fine simile in comparing his father to an unimportant word in a long sentence. This is very unique. He says that his father gets down just like a word which is not important drops from a long sentence. The poet indicates how unimportant his father is to the crowd in the train. It doesn't really matter or make any difference whether he got down or not. He is not that relevant to the rest of the world. So, the last three lines of the first stanza: he hurries across the length of the grey platform, crosses the railway line, enters the lane. His chappals are sticky with mud, but he hurries onward. So now, after getting off the train, the father hurries towards his home. He crosses the grey platform and the railway line and finally enters the lane. His sticky with mud chappals can't prevent him hurrying onward. The poet has used the word hurries twice to bring in a sense of escapism from the dull, humid atmosphere. Grey platform and muddy streets where no one would care for him. He just wants some solace at his own home. So here we complete the first stanza. So here you can see the meanings of the new words. Commuters means people who travel regularly from one place to another. Soggy means wet or heavy with water. Stained means soiled or discolored spots. Falling apart means breaking into pieces. Fade means to lose freshness. Humid refers to damp. And the grey platform suggests, the word grey suggests old age, dullness, sordidness of father's life. So now we shall move to the next stanza. Home again, I see him drinking weak tea, eating a stale chapati, reading a book. He goes into the toilet to contemplate man's estrangement from a man-made world. Coming out, he trembles at the sink, the cold water running over his brown hands. A few droplets cling to the graying hairs on his wrist. His sullen children have often refused to share jokes and secrets with him. He will now go to sleep listening to the static on the radio, dreaming of his ancestors and grandchildren, thinking of nomads entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. So, home again, I see him drinking weak tea, eating a stale chapati, reading a book. So, the second stanza of the poem, Father Returning Home, begins here. In this stanza, the poet depicts the isolation of his father in his own home. The poet sees his father reach home again like other days. Then he sees him drink a weak tea and eat a stale chapati. The poet hints at how nobody cared for him, even at home. But the man does not have any complaint. As we see, he rather concentrates on reading a book while having his tea. He has probably given up on expecting more care from his family members. He goes into the toilet to contemplate man's estrangement from a man-made world. So now the speaker's father goes into the toilet with a thought of how men become isolated from the man-made world. And this line nearly sums up the theme of the entire poem. The father is indeed aware of his estranged situation and hopes to find some support in his family when he hurries towards his home. But the hope is diminished as he reaches home and finds the same indifference there. Moreover, the toilet might act as a symbol of how small his world has been. The toilet seems to be the only place the man has to go to contemplate over his loneliness. Coming out, he trembles at the sink, the cold water running over his brown hands. So these lines tell us that the father comes out from the toilet and goes to wash his hands at the wash basin. The speaker observed him trembling at the sink when cold water was running down his brown hands. His trembling might be due to his old age, the coldness of water, and also the fearful thought of his isolation from the rest of the world. The next line is a few droplets cling to the graying hairs on his wrist. So, a few drops of water clinging to the grey hairs of his wrist may have some greater implication. Water generally symbolizes life and grey hairs stand for the old age. So, the old man's life is just holding on to his old age. This life has no significance to anyone else. His sullen children have often refused to share jokes and secrets with him. Now, the poet goes on to talk about the old man's relationship to his family members. His bad tempered children refuse to share jokes and secrets with him. That said, they do not share a close and friendly association with their father. Rather, they regard him as an outdated, unwanted burden, though he seems to be the only earning member of the family. Now, the next lines of the poem are he will now go to sleep listening to the static on the radio, dreaming of his ancestors and grandchildren, thinking of nomads entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. So, here we are in the final stage of the poem where we see the father going to sleep, listening to the radio, or and thinking of many things like his ancestors, his grandchildren, and of the Aryans. That is, the people entering the Indian subcontinent through the Khyber Pass in the ancient time. The sound of the radio is even noisy, giving another reference to the old man's miserable life. However, his dreaming of his ancestors and grandchildren gives the impression that he finds some solace in thinking about his past and future generation. It is an attempt to escape from his mundane routine, devoid of human contact. Again, his thought of the Aryans may indicate that he is thinking of how the society has changed since the ancient times when they had come here. Now, this modern world has no place for the elderly people, has no one to think about their loneliness or care for them. Thus, the poem Father Returning Home by Dilip Chitre sympathizes with the old neglected people in our society. No doubt his message is well delivered here. This poem has given the poet a lot of respect and popularity through all these years. So you can go through the meanings that are given from the second stanza. Contemplate means to think deeply. Estrangement means alienation or loneliness. Stale means not fresh. Tremble means to shake involuntarily. Cling means to adhere or to remain. Sullen means bad tempered. Static here refers to a tedious voice of the radio. Ancestors are a person in one's family who lived a long time before. Subcontinent refers to a large landmass that forms a part of continent. Nomads means migrants. Narrow Pass refers to the Khyber Pass, that is, from where the Aryans entered the Indian subcontinent in the ancient times. So now let's summarize the poem. The summary for the first stanza is given to you. So the first stanza, A Father Returning Home, describes the train journey of his father while returning home one evening. The father stands among commuters in the yellow light of a local compartment. The poet describes his father's reaction against the sights of the suburbs that passed by. His father remains unmoved by the sights because they are too familiar to him. That is quite normal, isn't it? We hardly pay attention to those places where we travel every day unless the place has something interesting to offer. Same was with the poet's father. The poet then describes his father's pathetic condition as he travels during the rainy season. His clothes become damp and dirty. The black raincoat that he wears becomes stained with mud. His bag crumbles with the heavy load of books. Due to the old age, the poet's father's eyesight has become poor and therefore he finds it difficult to move about in the dark. The poet says that he can see his father getting down the train just like a word dropped from a long sentence. The sentence is highly unique and it provides an evocative image of an old man who gets down from the train as if he is no longer relevant to it. The poet then sees his father hurrying through the long grey platform. The man seems to be as old as the platform, who has been using it as a part of his routine. He crosses the railway tracks and hurries home through muddy lanes on a rainy day. This is indicated by his chappals, which are sticky with mud. So, this stanza portrays the monotonousness of the old man who sustains the vagaries of weather as well as the estrangement from the man-made world. So, we'll summarize the second stanza as well. So, in the second stanza, the poet represents the alienation of his father that he experiences in his own dwelling. The poet tells us that his father drinks a weak tea and eats a stale chapati when he comes back home. This shows that even his basic requirements are not properly carried out by his family. A sense of pity for the poet's father arises in us. What do you think? The father is then seen going into a contemplative mood after reading some kind of a philosophical book. He goes to the toilet and contemplates over man's alienation from the man-made world. This exhibits that the man is visibly upset with his predicament. He is terribly shaken when he comes out of the toilet and trembles when he washes his hands at the wash basin. It seems that he trembled not only because of the cold water but also due to the thoughts that came into his mind while he was thinking of the toilet. The father finds himself all alone in his room as he is written off by his children. The children do not interact with their father. They do not share their joys or sorrows with him. To compensate their company, the father listens to the radio. Then he goes to sleep. In his sleep, he dreams about his ancestors and grandchildren. It seems that he is trying to communicate with his ancestors who had entered the subcontinent through the Khyber Pass in the Himalayas in the past. The dream mirrors that the old man is either thinking about his past or his future. It is a kind of a relief to him from his mundane routine devoid of any human contact. So, have you ever felt so alienated like this old man in The Father Returning Home? So, here we complete the explanation of the poem 2.5 Father Returning Home. So now let's move on towards the appreciation of the poem. Based on the title, poet, poem, theme, poetic style and language. So the title of the poem is Father Returning Home. It indicates that the poet is talking about the monotonous routine of his father. It also indicates that the poet is about to describe the event in detail. Now about the poet. These points you can write by your own also. I have given here an example. If you wish, you can take a screenshot of the example. Then we have the appreciation on the points of poetic device, special features, moral and opinion. In the opinion part, you can write by your own. So poetic devices, if we see, so it is written that the poem is in the first person narrative. It is a free verse, that means it does not have any particular meter or rhyme scheme. Then figures of speech like simile and alliteration are seen in the poem. Then what are the special features and what is the moral of the poem? So these two are also written and you can see on the screen. Then opinion. Opinion, you have to write what you want from the people. So this poem is an account of any old man who works hard for his family but leads a pathetic and miserable life, being uncared and unloved. In my opinion, the younger ones must learn the significance of respecting the elders by spending quality time with them. So it is an example. If you wish, you can write by your own also. Now let's move on towards the figures of speech. Figures of speech are very important in the poetry section. The first one is like a word dropped from a long sentence. So it is simile. Now what do you mean by simile? You must be aware that simile means direct comparison. Okay, so here the father getting off the train is compared to a word dropped unnoticed as many other words are there. So we can see it is an example of simile. The second word is my father travels on the late evening train. So it is alliteration. Alliteration refers to repetition of the sound of any letter. So in this, the sound of letter T is repeated. Same for the third one, the sound of letter S is repeated. The fourth one, he hurries across till he hurries onward. So here you can see we can find the figure of speech known as repetition, because he hurries is repeated in lines 10 and 12. Man's estrangement from a man-made world. So again it is an example of alliteration because the sound of letter M is repeated. Now the sixth example is static on the radio. So it is an example of onomatopoeia because onomatopoeia refers to sound, and we can see here the sound like the meaning of the word is shown. Like radio refers to a sound, that's why it will be onomatopoeia. Then the seventh one is man's estrangement from a man-made world. And eighth one is I see him drinking weak tea, eating a stale chapati. So the figure of speech is synecdoche. So what do you mean by synecdoche? So synecdoche figure of speech is in which a part represents the whole. This figure of speech is used in which a part of something is used to signify the whole or vice versa. As a literary device, synecdoche is a means for writers to avoid overusing words or phrases and creating an artistic form of expression. So basically, you need to keep in mind that synecdoche refers to something as a whole. So here, stale chapati stands for stale food or diet, where the part symbolizes the whole, that is food. So here we complete another poem from your course book, that is poem number 2.5, Father Returning Home. So we'll see you in another video. Till then, stay home, stay safe.